What's up, everybody? The footage that you're going to see in this video is from a couple of weeks ago. I didn't share it previously because I really didn't find much of anything that I was interested in, but you all may see some things in this video that you're interested in. And because this is from a couple of weeks ago, it's not going to have the very latest releases. You won't see those in the stores that I visited. And I did visit, I believe, Target. It was Target, Barnes & Noble, and then GameStop in that order, and also Walmart, Walgreens as well. I was pretty much all over the place. But yeah, you're going to see footage from those various stores, but that's not the main focus of this video. This video is really focusing on collecting Burnout. Now, this is a topic that I've spoken with some people behind the scenes, some other collectors, including some of my patrons, some fellow YouTubers, just friends in general, about getting burnt out on collecting. And I think it's something that if you collect long enough, you're going to experience it at some point. Me personally, I've been collecting coming up on about 3 years at this point, and I've definitely experienced this, especially lately. And I think there are different causes to it, so I do want to run through the causes first, what I think causes this collecting burnout. I want to address that first before I get to ways to kind of combat this issue. And of course, I'm not trying to make it seem like this is some big dramatic major issue, but it is something I think that's worth addressing, though, especially for people that collect on a regular basis. Now, obviously in this video, I'm going to mainly focus on Funko because that is the main focus of my channel, collecting Funko Pops, but this may apply to some other forms of collecting and maybe even some other hobbies as well to an extent. Now, the first cause I think that what leads to collecting burnout really is overexcitement. I know when I first got into Funko Pops and I was looking up, what different types of Pops they had available, and I started seeing all these characters that I loved, and, even real people, celebrities that had Pop figures. It's very overwhelming, and you feel like you just got to try to grab a hold of everything that you're interested in. And I think, that pressure that you put on yourself from the beginning, it can be exciting, but it does get to a point where that's all it is. It's pressure to try to grab everything that you are interested in. And then along with that, even though Funko already has literally thousands of Pops out there already, they are constantly putting out new figures. New figures come out on a regular basis, and they do have a lot of genres covered and a lot of different properties covered. So it just never stops with Funko, and I think that constant wave of releases really puts pressure on some people as well when it comes to collecting, especially when you consider that there's always some big event coming up. There are the major conventions that happen. Of course, there's San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, Emerald City Comic-Con. Those are the major ones. And then there are some other conventions as well that get exclusives. Then you also have other events like Black Friday. So there's always big events coming up. There's always new releases, especially exclusives. And again, that constant wave of releases, I think, again, it puts a lot of pressure on some collectors to try to keep up with everything. And then also, I think burnout definitely has something to do with the money that is spent. Even if you make a decent living, and I've seen, especially on YouTube, I see collectors from all different walks of life and people with different income. Obviously, regardless of how much money a person has, it's a lot of pressure still on your wallet, or your purse to keep up with how much Funko puts out. So again, that's pressure. And also, I know this is another big factor with burnout is space. I know a lot of people that have been collecting as long as I have or even longer definitely run into issues with space. You start to feel crowded, you start to feel cluttered, you almost start to feel like a hoarder because you end up with so many Pops around you. And again, it just never stops with Funko, so you feel like you're constantly trying to find more space to fit everything in. And I know some people have gotten to the point in their collections where they have Pops in front of Pops where they can't even see all of their collection. That's something I really don't like to do within my own collection. It makes it feel pointless to me. I don't like to have Pops blocking other Pop figures. So again, just space being an issue, again, that's something that is definitely a concern, and it can lead to burnout when you start to feel like you have no idea where you're going to even put the new figures that you're going after. And then also, I definitely have to address this. There are some negative experiences and interactions that come along with collecting. You run into issues in stores, running across damaged merchandise, dealing with employees that maybe not even like collectors so much. And to be fair to the employees, I always say this: employees deal with some negative collectors, so that's why they may have certain negative attitudes towards collectors. It's not always personal, it's just what in general what they deal with some collectors that maybe camp out at the stores and rush in and kind of push people out the way to get figures that they want. People that are rude, people that call the store over and over and over, those type of things. These negative type of people that we deal with sometimes when it comes to collecting, that can wears down employees. It also wears down other collectors when you're dealing with these negative types of people. We also have, some people that when it comes to trading pop figures, that make trading very difficult. It's very annoying when you're trying to trade with somebody and they can't tell you exactly what they want. They just keep saying, what else you got? What else you got? That type of thing. It's just, again, another example of negative interactions within the collecting community. So I think there's more positive than negative in the collecting community, but definitely when you deal with, people that can be difficult to trade with, people that can be selfish in some ways, and flippers, of course, people that are just all about trying to profit off of pop figures and taking everything they can from everybody else, even if that means using bots online and things like that. Yeah, these constant negative interactions, I think that can wear you down as a collector as well. So yeah, there's a lot of different factors that lead to collecting burnout, and I think those are the major reasons. Now, if you feel like I missed anything in particular, definitely share that down in the comments. Of course, I want feedback on this video. I do want to hear your thoughts about this topic. Now, as far as how to deal with collecting burnout, these are just some things that came to my mind. And of course, I've been listening to other collectors as well. Like I said, I've spoken to some other people about this topic. So the first thing I think that you need to do when you start to feel that burnout is to scale back. I think it's very important to take a look at what you are collecting and get focused. I have some friends that have decided that they're only going to collect figures from certain genres or figures from certain properties. For example, I have some friends that all they collect are figures that are related to Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, Lord of the Rings, those types of pops. So basically within that fantasy realm, that's all that they focus on with those particular properties. There are some other people that may just collect Marvel, or they may just collect DC, or just those two lines. And even that's a lot already. If you focus on just Marvel and DC, that's a lot. If you just focus on Star Wars, that on its own is a lot. So again, I think scaling back and getting focused on what you really want to collect is very important. And I'm going to say this as well, in addition to scaling back, I would say not just grab pops just because you like the characters. Take a good look at the designs, because there are a lot of characters that I like, but I don't always pick up the pops. I try to take a look at the design and say, do I really like the way this character is represented? So there are some pops that people might think I might have in my collection, but I don't have them just because I feel like it's not necessary to have them. Even though I like the character, the design doesn't do enough for me to have it in my collection. So when you're scaling back, do definitely consider design as well. And of course, with that, you do need to consider money and space also, stay within your means. And you may also need to purge, basically. I know that a lot of collectors are doing this around this time, and I know some people may even have some recent buyer's remorse. So if you need to get rid of some pop figures, to clear up some space, to make yourself feel like you can breathe a little bit more, then do that. And you can do that with, you may be trading multiple figures that don't have a ton of value to get yourself, a rare figure or whatever it may be. If you can trade multiple figures to get fewer figures, then, do that if that's going to make you happy. Also, of course, you could give pops to friends. You could use them as gifts. I know around this time of year, a lot of people also donate pops, like Toys for Tots and things like that. With the holidays coming up, you could donate some figures as well if you want to. And of course, if you need the money, you could sell some figures also. So there are a lot of ways. If you have way too many pops and you feel like you need to scale back, then you can definitely do that. If it's going to free you up to feel like you can breathe better, then yeah, absolutely go for that. Also, I think to avoid burnout, you need to get picky. like I said, and I'm guilty of this myself. Sometimes I will just snatch things up without thinking, just because it's available. I know that's very tempting, especially like with the Funko shop and the Funko pop-up shop, just to snatch things up. And I do end up with some buyer's remorse sometimes because of that. So I've been trying to get picky, and I think in general, collectors should be very picky about what they pick up. Like I already said, definitely consider design. Also, consider your space, and just look at the details too. Like, even if you like a pop, look at them up close, because there are some pops that come out that look very cool, but maybe the paint jobs aren't the best. It might be some little issues with it. So if you're seeing flaws that are going to end up bothering you anyway, then just don't bother to get it. So again, get picky about what you pick up. I think that actually helps you overall to avoid that burnout feeling. And I'm going to say this as well, and I know that this scares some collectors, but sometimes you might need to kind of take a break. And I don't mean like a break completely from collecting, because I know, if it's something you do that makes you happy, then obviously, keep it going. But you might need to take a break, at least from getting common figures, figures that you can find, that you're pretty sure you can find later on. Maybe take a break from those so you don't feel so much pressure to run to the store. Some people will run and get like a full wave of commons that just came out, like they're going to disappear, when that's usually not the case, or also to take pressure off of yourself. If you are going to continue to collect regularly, then do some pre-orders and things like that, so you don't feel that pressure to run to the store and try to find everything. I know GameStop does pre-orders. There are online retailers that do pre-orders. So yeah, doing pre-orders, I think it can take some pressure off your shoulders. But like I said, if there are some common figures that are going to be around in good numbers, especially if they're related to like major movies, like pops that are related to things like the Avengers movies, they're going to be around. They're going to be in good numbers. You know what I'm saying? So basically, don't pressure yourself to try to get everything that comes out right away. Now, like I said, though, the exception, of course, if there are exclusives that could sell out and then be very difficult to get later on, then yeah, go for them. But when it comes to those commons, those easy to find figures, just take a step back and don't put so much pressure on yourself, because again, that can lead to burnout. Now, also, I'm going to say this, and I think this is the hardest thing for people to do, and even, myself included, is basically keep yourself in check. Realize when you are stressing unnecessarily. And I think sometimes as collectors, we do stress unnecessarily. Again, it's partly because we feel like we got to get things right away, and that's just not the way it is. Once these figures are produced, they exist, they're out there, so, and I know some people feel like they got to rush and they got to get something because they don't want the value to shoot up. But you got to realize, not only does value go up sometimes, it also comes down. There are a lot of figures that some people spend big money on that right now are worth like half or a third of that value. A good example, the Chase Pennywise figure. Once people found out that was going to be vaulted, people were selling that for like $80 to $100. And now I think it's worth like a third of that. Like I said, it's come way down. So don't pressure yourself to feel like you have to get everything right away. These figures will be out there. So don't stress, and also, if you find yourself getting angry and being ugly with other people over figures, I think you definitely need to take a good look at yourself and really ask yourself, is it worth it? I don't think you should be enjoying the hobby. I don't see how you could be enjoying the hobby if you're getting frustrated, if you're stressing, if you're arguing with people, being ugly with people over plastic. That's really not necessary. So again, to avoid burnout, definitely keep yourself in check and just think to yourself, is it really worth it? The way that you're interacting with other people, and also the way that you're treating yourself as well. So those are pretty much my thoughts on collecting burnout. Like I said, I've experienced it times, and then I've had times where I felt like I got rejuvenated because a particular line came along. Like recently, the most recent Venom figures, when I saw those, that kind of got me hyped, so just certain releases can get you hyped, and really, I think being a part of the community and interacting with other people as well can kind of keep you from feeling that burnout, when you interact and know what's going on with other people. But yeah, that's enough of me talking about this. I definitely want to hear from you all. Let me know, or have you experienced collecting burnout? Are you going through it right now? Maybe even what are your thoughts about it? And also, what do you think are the solutions to deal with it for people that are dealing with collecting burnout? Because there are a lot of positives to this hobby. It can be fun, it can be relaxing, and I know a lot of people want to keep it going for those reasons. So just let me know down in the comments, what do you think people can do about collecting Burnout to help with that? But I hope everybody enjoyed this video, got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed the footage as well, and I will talk to you all again real soon.